Hey, welcome to the HODL Review. This is Jeff. You are here exclusively on the chain. The topic of today's video: to settle or not to settle. SEC versus Ripple. Should Ripple have settled and not entered into a full-blown lawsuit, or will they still have an opportunity to settle, maybe with a little bit stronger of an upper hand as they present? They still have maybe about 20 days until they have to respond to the lawsuit that was submitted to them by the SEC. And after that, there's actually a court date already for February 22nd. But the point, should they have settled, has the fact that they haven't settled caused a disruption in the space, and maybe not just for Ripple, not just for XRP, but for the crypto space in its entirety? That's what we're going to discuss. Let's go.
And now, the HODL Review with Jeff on the chain.
All right, so here we go. So we're going to dig into this. Now, this all started because of a comment that I saw post. Now, we've already kind of, looked at this. Should they settle? Shouldn't they settle? But one of our viewers actually had a great post. I want to go through this. It was a comment to one of the videos. We're going to read through this. We're going to give a little bit of commentary because his comment is exactly right on the point of should they have settled, and what is the outcome by them not settling. Has this caused a major disruption in the crypto space? Does this embolden the SEC to go even further and take additional action against other companies? Or, if this court case is finalized, does it provide full clarity as to what is and what isn't a security beyond just the Howey test? That means moving from the Howey test to the Ripple test, but to settle or not to settle. That's what we want to dig into. So let's go through this comment. This is Stone Jug. Now, Stone Jug, I did pin this. This was earlier in the day to a video. Let's read through this a little bit. I think some of the XRP community does not understand that the date of February 22nd is only discovery. After that, there's usually 120 days provided for both sides to collect information and due diligence. Then a trial is set, so the trial presumably could be the end of 2021. So at this point, right now, what we're looking at, the case motion is filed. So the SEC, files a case. I might get the vernacular wrong, but SEC files a case against Ripple. Ripple now has, because they're in California, I believe they have up to 30 days to respond. Now, they did issue a statement yesterday. Part of their statement was, hey, no one's even heard our side of it. Everybody's focused on what the SEC has had to say. They're still sticking to and abiding by the fact that they believe that that XRP is a currency. It's a non-security. There's others within government institutions, like with FinCEN and the DOJ, that have already stated that XRP is not a security. And so we have other countries that have stated by their law through regulation that XRP is not a security. But the SEC is trying to prove the case that it is. And so as people start talking about this, we do have to get a better understanding that by not settling, this case could drag on, like Stone Jug is saying, for a year, going through the end of 2021 if it goes that long. Now, Ripple can settle anytime they like, but they will need to pay a fine. Sorry. And maybe that's the best case outcome. Pay the fine, get some clarity. Okay, everyone's proven their case. You believe it is a security. You believe it's not a security. Now there's discussion from both sides. Now let's look for an amicable outcome. That amicable outcome would be XRP is not a security. However, because of this, and this, you need to pay whatever the fine is. Maybe it's $5 million, similar to Kick. Maybe it's $10 million. Maybe it's $20 million. Who knows what that number is? Kick had to, was sued by the SEC. They paid a $5 million fine. They're still functional today. They still have a digital asset today. So Ripple can settle anytime they like, but they will need to pay a fine. Not settling quickly would not be good for XRP holders and only in Ripple's self-interest. Now, their self-interest could really be deemed that maybe it becomes personal. want a personal, from a personal outcome, they want to, feel that, they took on the Goliath, which is the SEC, and they brought Ripple to a whole nother level to really show, because again, you look at this, Ripple is in the banking space. They're looking to upset and displace Swift, which is really a major hurdle. It's a major obstacle. To put that on their crosshairs, think about Swift has been around since 1974. They're not going away quietly, although the company is the solution is relatively irrelevant at this point, being that it's only a messaging platform. We've moved on. There's new technology. It hasn't been implemented yet, but at this point, R3 or Ripple with RippleNet is the best solution if you were to compare the two. Swift, no settlement, messaging only. RippleNet has the messaging, has the settlement, has the ODL, which is the on-demand liquidity, has through the XRP ledger, can utilize the foreign currency exchange, the interoperability, is really an amazing solution for the entire world. Regardless of whether or not you're moving a fiat currency or a digital currency or digital asset, the interoperability in the foreign currency that's baked in to the XRP ledger is phenomenal. And I believe that many of these entities, many of the governments and financial institutions, they are aware. They know it. So do we need to move beyond just personal feeling and self-interest to go through and settle because it's the best outcome for the retail holders at this point and for some of the bigger holders of the digital asset? Is that what they're focused on? Or for them, is their prize, is what they're looking at, is the objective of Ripple and not really thinking about the digital asset holders and traders? They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about their initiative, which is to further Ripple, the company. So again, to settle or not to settle, we have to keep thinking about that as we read through Stone Jug's comment here. So now, if Ripple drags the lawsuit out in courts and doesn't settle, it will be risky for the asset, and XRP will lose all momentum as institutions and exchanges distance themselves. We're already beginning to see this distancing. Coinbase, not until January 19th, they're going to suspend trade. Bitfinex, Bittrex, all these different exchanges, Bitstamp, Binance US. Many of them have come out and said they're going to begin to suspend trade. On Coinbase, they have now frozen all market buys, but you go to Coinbase Pro and you can still do limit buys. However, if you go to Uphold, their statement was, look, there's no settlement, there's no case yet. We're going to allow the market buys on Uphold. That's their statement until there's some outcome. Right now, there's no outcome. And in fact, actually, XRP is being sued by a party stating that Coinbase sold them a security, but there's no outcome yet on whether or not it's a security. So here, Stone Jug is saying a trial could drag out 2 to 3 years. This could not just upset Ripple. This could upset the entire industry, the digital asset industry in the U.S., because of the ramification of what the outcome may or may not be. Ripple will not ride off into the sunset victoriously and will need to spend money on legal fees. Yes, they will have to do that, and at the same time, maybe they transition. The majority of the trades and functionality for Ripple is really overseas anyways. Remittance payments from foreign workers, potentially, and others that are moving money back through, whether, their objective really isn't to the retail consumer or the smaller individual. They're looking more at financial institution movement of money, whereas, Stellar is looking at the retail, but, they're looking at, big movement, big transaction. But that is important and significant because a lot of it isn't necessarily, or the majority of it isn't happening in the U.S. It's happening in other parts of the world, like in Japan, where it's not a security. So there's also those elements to where maybe this case does end quickly. Maybe once Ripple presents their statement back, which could happen third week of January, the SEC looks and reads through that, and they're like, hey, you know what? This is a strong reason. Both parties come together and they settle at that point. And that could be the objective. But we haven't even seen a response yet from Ripple, so there still isn't a reason to settle yet until they issue that response. Then, like Stonejug is saying, at any point they can choose to settle. Settle ASAP and get on with growing the project and maintain investor and institutional confidence. So, is the investor confidence declining? Is institutional confidence declining? Can this have bigger impact on Ripple's core business, which is RippleNet, with other financial institutions, especially US-based institutions, saying, look, you had a chance to settle, maybe you should settle, but since you're not, maybe we don't want to participate in utilizing your full solution until that happens. Now, RippleNet has the main component, the beginning component, which is the messaging. Then they have the ODL, which is the on-demand liquidity, which is a very critical element and the game changer of their full solution. So that's the element that, that they really want the financial institutions to start using. They want the banks to start using. They have banks that are utilizing a component of RippleNet, which is just the messaging component. So, all right, settle ASAP and get on with growing the project and maintain investor institutional confidence. The longer Ripple drags this on, the more damage that will be done, which is very likely, and it's damaging for the entire space. And even Ripple came out, and their statement already was the SEC is attacking not just Ripple, but they're attacking the entire space, because the outcome of what happens with Ripple, as long as this drags out, could have long-lasting effect. And we're already seeing the U.S. Treasury is talking about potentially labeling stablecoins as securities, but that doesn't make any sense. Then it destabilizes the stablecoins when you had Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman in Michigan, trying to take a stablecoin and make it the jurisdiction of the banks. But the banks don't develop the technology. These private companies that are creating the stablecoins are creating the technology. This is like telling Microsoft in the early days, your Internet Explorer, no, you know what? We're going to let the libraries oversee the Internet Explorer. Google, you guys don't know enough about Google. Let's let the archivists handle Google. So that makes no sense. You're gonna stop all innovation and stop the rapid development in this technology, which is far-reaching, which sets the U.S. back. It'll set the whole world back a little bit, but the development will still go on everywhere else in the world. Eventually, investors will turn out and take their own legal action against Ripple as XRP sinks. That's possible. And they lose their investments. Maybe, maybe not. Whether they have a claim or don't have a claim, but that's a possibility. Maybe they'll go after the exchanges for then selling. The community should demand that Ripple make the correct decision and move on and grow the project. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, they need to look beyond and really see, but their main project is RippleNet. And this is where it becomes really important. But the thing is, anyone who got into investing in XRP knew from the beginning that it was a speculative investment, that your investment in a digital asset could go to zero. It could go to 100, it could go to zero, and anywhere in between. And with the XRP digital asset, with the full functionality, full utility, people had this idea of scope of where it could develop, also looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and many of the other digital assets that grew and developed. And much of that was just based on speculation and FOMO. So XRP was moving with that speculation and FOMO just like all the other digital assets, except the XRP ledger, outside of whatever Ripple is, the XRP ledger with XRP is a very functional solution and technology that is implemented by other companies and can be implemented. And now we see Flare, dropping their smart contract and utilizing, XRP in some functionality. So the community should demand that Ripple make the correct decision and move on and grow their project. Can the community do it or the validators? Can the validators vote on XRP? So one of the statements that David Schwartz made like 3-4 weeks ago was that if there was a supermajority vote, meaning 80% of the validators voted, they could vote to burn all the escrow. There's about 50 billion XRP in escrow. The validators could vote to burn it. So here he says, right again, here even Stone Jug says, if they do not agree, then it's time to burn Ripple's XRP as they are not a responsible custodian. And that could be the case, but right now they are the custodian. But the validators, at the end of the day, still have the power and control over that XRP sitting in escrow. So I think that that's very interesting, and that shows a complete separation of the XRP, from Ripple, the company, that they don't have the control over it. Ripple does not control they don't have a majority of the validators. So a majority of the validators are outside of Ripple, which shows a decentralized nature to the structure, to the system. At one point, you could show that Ripple did have a majority of the validators. That's no longer the case. So if the validators do vote, if the community of validators do rise up and say, look, Ripple, we're not putting up with this any longer. This is what we're going to do. We're going to vote, and they vote, and they decide they're going to burn all the XRP. That means every month a billion XRP comes out, it gets burned. And eventually, after 50 months, a little over 4 years, all the XRP is burned, unless they vote again, probably to stop the burning of it and keep it in escrow. So there's that possibility something can happen. I don't know, to settle, not to settle. There's all these ideas out there. At the end of the day, the ones that need to really provide the statement and rebuttal response is going to be Ripple, the investors in XRP as a speculative digital asset. Outside of Ripple, XRP still has its functionality, just like any of the other digital assets. That's kind of my take on this whole thing, and I thought it was interesting to kind of go through and dissect a video based on Stone Jug's comment and response here. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed going through it. I appreciate Stone Jug for throwing up that comment. You guys, as you're watching this, please leave some comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm sure we can get a really interesting conversation here. Also, make sure, look in the description. If you haven't been over to our other channel yet, get over there and watch our live streams. We are getting a lot of lively conversation on the live streams. This past week, we've done a live stream twice a day. Typically, we do about 3-4 a week. But get over to the other channel, check that out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below, hit the little bell notifier. Make sure you get notified every time we drop a video. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Again, leave some comments, and I will see you on the next video.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.